weather patterns here seem natural, not artificial.
Thank you guys for joining me on this Chilling with Mojo, where we always try to turn an ordinary day to an extraordinary day. Today, I want to get something off my chest. You guys know I'm doing a podcast. You guys know if you see any update, podcast update. Now, what's with the hiatus, man? What's going on? You just said that you wanted to start a podcast, and now you're about to go on a hiatus. What happened? So, what happened in the background, guys? Now, I'm not going to give this individual's name. I'm not going to give them any links or anything like that. I'm not going to give them their time in the sun. I tried to give them their time in the sun via the podcast, and they wasted 2 hours of my time. So, guys, if you want to know the full story about it, just listen to the whole thing, and you'll know about it. Just know we are not putting any links or any names of this individual, so we do not start any drama. Just voicing what's on my chest right now. So, guys, I've recently had a guest on the podcast, and did it go well? Personally, I was tripping over my own words sometimes. I messed up on the intro, and I kept on letting this individual know, hey, there's going to be an editing process right after this. I'm going to make sure I have this coming out the professional way. I'm going to make sure that we freaking have different sections, or if you don't feel comfortable in something that we're talking about, you can just tell me and I can edit it out. And what even got me to is that we started talking about bullying and how it really affects people and stuff like that. You know, we got it from her point of view, we got it from my point of view, and what really makes it even a little bit irritating too is that we both, like, we're coming from two different sides of the country, and we have certain things that we kind of vibe with, you know, that we have in common. So it's kind of weird to talk to somebody all the way across the country, and for you guys to still vibe on certain things. And it's like, dude, I've never talked to you. So I thought that we could establish a good friendship that way. You know, we were talking about things in the background, and I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, let's have you on the podcast, talk about this or that. You know, I really wanted to push to their audience just so this individual could be known and stuff like that. And we got into why isn't she showing her face and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, we got into really good topics about small content creators, but the podcast was structured around small content creators. The questions were structured around small content creators. This individual started, I wouldn't say sharing, but started getting into detail about that they are from California, that they're in the LGBTQ plus crowd, and this is a podcast, so you're going to get 2 points of views from 2 different areas. I live in rural America. I live in the conservative part of America. There are a lot of shit that I hear from the white old school guys that somebody from California would drop and be like, what the fuck? And we over here are like, this is average, this is every day. I don't know what is it with the California crowd, but I guess they're so ahead of the times that if you come over here, they're like, oh my God, this is a wholly different world. And I'm like, oh my God, your world is completely different too. That's why we say, don't fucking leave California, because y'all fucking ruin everything that y'all touch whenever you leave the state. So, like, dude, the podcast was going well, interviews were going well, and we started talking about the LGBTQ plus crowd and the whole thing about going on with the beer, and about how average Americans don't really want to see everything going on with the LGBTQ plus crowd. I mean, we saw it with the whole gay movement. We gave them their time. We saw it with the whole Me Too movement. We gave them their time. And we're seeing it with the whole LGBTQ plus crowd movement. And we're giving them their time. But when I'm talking about some individuals don't want to go into a bar after they've worked hard every day, and then they get handed a beer, and the first thing they see on the beer is LGBTQ plus, then that's when individuals like me started being like, okay, why do I gotta see this shit every fucking where I go? It's like, oh, well, you gotta be aware of it. I am aware of it. I came to a bar to fucking drink and to unwind. Why are you telling me about this shit? If I turn on my phone, I see it. If I turn on the news, I see it. If I go to work, I hear about it. Why do I have to hear about it in my spare time? And like she was kind of arguing about like, well, people need to be more aware of it. People are aware of it. That's why you're seeing a backlash, because it's everywhere. That's why the Me Too movement died so quick, or it died because everybody got sick and tired of saying it all the fucking time. And then there were freaking people that were lying. And then once the liars started coming out, then people just did not let the movement go anymore. People were like, okay, whatever, If there's something real bad, then we'll listen to it. But if it's not that bad, then shut the fuck up. And I'm not saying anything about the whole like Me Too movement, all that. I'm just saying there were a lot of liars that started coming out, and they ruined the whole entire movement. It's the same thing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement too. There's a lot of liars that came out, and now every time you hear Black Lives Matter, you're like, oh shit, here we go again. So it kind of is what it is, man. The podcast was structured professionally. It was structured around small content creators, and I did not want to stem from those questions. I did not think that the podcast was going to last 2 hours, but it did. And after the podcast ended, this individual reached out to me, basically not even before the computer started rendering the work, and said, hey, I'll pay you whatever it takes to not put this out there online. And I kind of felt insulted, because here I am, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, fuck, I need to put my boat in the car so we can go out fishing today. But I want to make sure we get this podcast right. I want to make sure it comes out professionally. I want to make sure everything's done right. And for you to hit me up right after the interview is over, and to be like, hey, I just don't want this to see the light of day. I get it, you're paying me to not see the light of day, but it's more insulting because it's not like you're coming at me like a week later and you've thought about it, or like, you showed somebody else and they're kind of like, I think this, I don't know. No, it's kind of like you ended it, your self-doubt kicked into your mind, and then you instantly were like, hey, don't send that. And I'm like, hey, don't ever work with me again. Like, you were a joke. For you to hit somebody up 20 minutes after you're done with them says a lot about your character and your work ethic, and I think it's a joke. Like, oh my god. And to be honest, this individual was telling me how she wanted to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I'm like, chick, you lost 1 subscriber yesterday and you haven't even reached 200. Like, I don't know, I think the podcast was going really well, but I was willing to do the work. I was willing to be professional. Did this person get the uncensored version of me to the point where I have to warn people, this is the uncensored version. This is a version that if something very bad was to happen in front of me, I would not bat an eye. And that version of me came out after that. And the shit that I was saying, or the shit that came out of my mouth, it was kind of shocking because people aren't used to the no gives fucks side of me. Like, it wasn't like, holy shit, it was like, I was just in that mood. Like, everybody kind of knew that, like, something was really, really fucking with me. Like, something was really fucking with me so bad. But I will give it to an other individual yesterday. They put me in such a fucking mood. I have never laughed so hard in my life. I'm not gonna let you guys know about who that individual is, because I'm not. That's Mojo being nice, because if I was not, oh my god, I've never laughed so hard in my life, guys. Never laughed so hard in my life. I'm gonna give it a couple days before I even put out this shit, just so, oh man, hopefully that person don't see this, but guys, like, when it comes down to the podcast and everything, I think I'm going to do a little bit more betting. I think I'm going to do a little bit more talking about people. I think I may ask you your views on certain things, because I don't want it to pop up that at the end of the interview you want to just cut it and leave it and just say, hey, let's just say that, like, this was a bad idea and we should never work with each other ever again. To be honest, you don't know how big of an insult that is to the other individual that put in the work to work with you. So for you to just pop on the Discord and to just say, hey, I'll work with you, for you to just show up and talk, and then for you to turn around and just say, hey, this was a bad idea, we should have never worked together, I'll pay you just so this doesn't come out to the light of day. Yeah, I said some shit to that individual that I don't think I should have said to people, but you don't come and try to collab with somebody and then, like, right after you collab with them, you tell them, hey, this is a bad idea, I don't think we should ever have done this shit, and, like, let's act like this never happened. That's like the girl that you finally got with, that you've been, like, dreaming on dating. After you had, like, an awesome night, she literally comes up to you, like, right after you dropped her off at home and said, hey, by the way, even though we had a good night, I need you to forget about this night. Like, this was a bad idea. This you should forget about this night. I'll pay you to not let anybody know about this. And yeah, like, please don't ever tell anybody. So for somebody to say that, you've got to be some fucking individual. There's got to be something mentally with you. I mean, I know I'm a fucked up individual in the mind, but there's got to be something broken for somebody to come to somebody and to just say, hey, let's not work together ever again. And I mean, to be honest, for you to come at me like less than 20 minutes after the interview, that says that you didn't do any research into who I am and in the background. I did the research to who you are. I did the research into your channel. And for you to come to me and be like, oh, I didn't know who you were. Don't come on a podcast without doing your research on who you're about to interview or who you're about to host. Because if you don't realize that who they are, and then you're like, oh, well, you don't vibe with me. Well, maybe you should have done the research, because now I don't vibe with you. Like, I don't want to vibe with any of you. Bad apple ruins the tree, dog. Like, we have that phrase too in our culture. Bad apple ruins a batch. Bad apple ruins a batch. And you're coming from two different baskets, my guy. You're coming from the California basket, and you're coming from the LGBTQ plus basket. And you're saying that a bad apple, I'm just a bad apple. Yeah, well, you're the first apple I fucking ate out of that fucking basket, man. Out of both of those baskets. And I'm looking at them like, I don't think I should go back anymore. I don't think I should go to this crowd anymore. I think I should start vetting my audience or my guests a little bit more before they come on the podcast, because I'm not going to spend 2 hours of my time for you to come at me less than 30 minutes after the podcast is done, for you to offer me money to not put it online ever. And, you're not doing the research. You're not doing anything. You're just showing up to the podcast and just talking. So, yeah, guys, thank you guys for listening to me. I have another version that probably is a little bit uncensored. I don't know if I'll send that out. I don't know if I'll send this one out. But honestly, I'm just voicing my opinion. I may put this out just so my audience knows about what's going on in the background, and why did I put a video up that says there's going to be a hiatus on the podcast right after I said I was going to be, hosting a podcast and everything. Guys, we got to keep on. We got to get the mind right. We got to get everything right. We got to get back on the groove. We got to get back on the mojo. And we got to get back on these goals and keep on going. Let's get to it, guys. Don't let one bad apple ruin the batch for you. I know this one freaking ruined the batch for me. But really, I think it's just my time to just step back from it and just be like, yo, I fish. I do a lot of other things. I've been into YouTube a little bit too much right now. Maybe I need to stop it. So, yo, thank you guys for chilling me on this Chillin' with Mojo, where we always trying to turn an ordinary day to an extraordinary day. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe if you want to support the channel. Links will be down below. I greatly do appreciate it. Guys, if you want to be on the podcast or an interview, guys, there will be the Discord down there. Just hit me up in mine. links, or just hit me up in my Discord or something like that. I'll reach out to you, and there is a process. Questions, topics, figuring out who you are behind the backgrounds so you don't feel uncomfortable when you come onto the podcast and we don't have another repeat of an individual wasting my time for 2 hours. So, guys, thank you guys for showing me on this channel of Mojo. We always trying to turn an ordinary day to an extraordinary day. I'll check you guys on the next channel with Mojo, and hopefully people won't be wasting our time.